If you're following the current trends on tech Twitter around coding, you probably heard about the tab engineer term. Now this really became a thing when Copilot came out and all the other AI suggestion tools that make you code with just pressing tab. And big part of their marketing is people pressing tab while they're coding and basically becoming tab coders. And I've been using Cursor for the past few months and I'm slowly becoming one of these people, but let me explain why. Now you've probably heard about Cursor. It's not a new thing. Coding editors are not a new thing. A lot of people made a lot of videos with Cursor and how it helps them make websites without coding. And this is what I mean about the tab marketing way. This is one of the first things that they market on their website, on their landing page. You just press tab and breeze through coding by Cursor predicting your next edit. Cursor gained a lot of traction like a few months ago, and that's why I decided to try it. I hopped on the trend, but there was one video which went kind of viral on Twitter, and basically the kid is just explaining how they used Cursor, how they build features, and how they actually make a product without knowing any coding at all. And through my research for this video, I came across all of these videos on YouTube where people are making tutorials on how to use Cursor as a non-coder. People are seeing an opportunity where they actually create courses on how non-coders can use Cursor to create products, which I think is cool. And if you ask me, this is scary and cool at the same time. It's one of those things where it can get scary depending on which way this goes in the future, but as of now, I'm geeking out on how this works and how amazing it is actually. And I'm gonna talk you through how I use Cursor as a software engineer that has been working as a software engineer for the past 8 years. For those who don't know, Cursor is an AI code editor. And basically it's a fork of Visual Studio Code. It looks very similar as Visual Studio Code, but it has the chat here and the composer where you can ask it things and it will create stuff for you. Now, the biggest kind of feature for me in Cursor is the ability to create files and work in multiple files at the same time and give context as of which files I'm talking about when I'm asking for something. And I've been using Cursor to work on my blog, which is coming any day now. I've been working on it for the past 2 months. But here we can see I ask it to create a list of YouTube videos and it creates a new file where I've already applied this in a different branch. But let's try again. I'm gonna say, if I just run this. Now this is what my blog looks currently. And I'm gonna ask it to change the landing page to a page with a list of my videos. And here it's gonna tell me what it needs to get YouTube videos from the YouTube API. It's gonna suggest files here. It's using JavaScript for some reason, so I'm gonna ask it to change it to TypeScript. And this is basically being a tab engineer. Now let's just try and apply all of these. Now obviously sometimes it doesn't get it right. I haven't had issues like these before. And here we go, like it did something, and these are actually my latest videos. Now this is complaining about some TypeScript, which is fine, I don't care about that. And now you can see here it doesn't really follow the dark light colors. So I'm gonna say it still doesn't use the main layout, which I have here. And also the cool thing is that this is free. Cursor is free to try. There's some limitations if there's a lot of people using it at the same time. There will be blockages or something. But okay. Okay. Yeah, this didn't really do what I wanted it to do. And I do say please when I talk to my AIs. I don't know why. Because the video is overflow, I'm gonna ask it to fix it. Let's see how it does with that. Now this is not perfect, it's not going to design your website, but it also took a few tries. But here we go. These are my YouTube videos in the order from the last published. Just cool. I built this whole blog using Cursor. So the main thing that I want to say here is, you can see that it's not great all the time. Sometimes you have to give it a few tries. I think with all AI is the same thing. Even if you work with ChatGPT or whatever, it still needs a few tries to get it working or the way you wanted it, which is fine. It is a learning experience for me too, to know how to prompt it well, and it is fun to use stuff like this. Most of the times I use it for examples from my YouTube videos, because I am too lazy to build examples for everything, and I can just ask ChatGPT or Cursor or any other AI tool to build me a small example that I can explain what I want to explain to. Now I want to talk about some of the features of Cursor. Now of course I already mentioned the chat and the composer, how you can modify and create multiple files at the same time. I can add context here, so I can add like which files I wanted to have context for example Tailwind or whatever, and then ask it what I want to ask it. There is also code completion, so if I'm actually typing the code, this is gonna, I don't have, this requires Pro, so I don't actually have code completion, but yep, if you pay for Cursor Pro you can get code completion, which works in the same way as Copilot or Supermap or any of the other things. The other cool thing is it knows the project, so it learns of the way that I type the code and the project, and then it's gonna give you suggestions based on that. If I have any images in my project, I can add the image's context. For example, if I have like a design for my website, I can add the image here and I can ask the Cursor chat to actually build that website from that design. And you can also ask the web for any questions. I'm gonna try to ask it something non-coding. Okay, so yes, it is designed for coding and development questions. It does give me some steps of how I can find out what the answer to my question is. Let's ask the web what new features see how it does with this. React 19 just came out, so let's see if this works. Okay, this did work. It searched the web, visited a few websites, and gave me the answer. That's cool. It's also cool that it knows what's coding related, what's not. So let's try something like this. I want to try and trick it. Okay, this did work. The upcoming Olympics. So this was last summer, man. Okay, yeah, anyways, it's not perfect like any AI tool, but you can use the chat for other things as well. You just have to make it about coding somehow. And it also has AI in the terminal, which is also not a new thing, but I haven't really used this. If there is an error, I can ask it to fix it. So for example, I'm gonna try. Okay, so I have an error here. I can add this to chat, or I can actually chat here directly. Yeah, so it will fix my error. There we go. Fixed. There is also inline chat, or you can ask, like if you press Command K, you can add new coding structure or command. I can select stuff and ask it. Here we go. So this does actually work, and this can't really work with multiple files, I guess, but the chat on the composer can. Cool. Now these are just some of the features that I've been using with Composer, and like I said, my experience is that it's not always great. It sometimes gets stuff wrong, but you can give it a few tries, try to get it right, or you can just code just stuff yourself if you know how to code. What I found is the most useful, especially when starting a new project, is using bolt.new. I think this is a great way for starting new projects. I haven't tried starting a new project in Cursor. I think maybe it's going to do well with that too. But this is how I started my blog, and what other projects I'm working for, other videos. I can say, can you build me a blog using Astro and use Markdown for my blog posts? And this is gonna build the whole project, install all the dependencies, and then I can download this and use it in Cursor. Now you can also edit stuff here in this, and you can deploy. This is gonna be another video, but this is how I start my projects with Cursor and Bolt New. Found this is a great way for me, and it works well with simple stuff like adding new pages and something simple. And I haven't actually used it in a big project myself, or project that actually is live. I will get my blog live at some point, but I haven't used it for a big project, so I don't know how well it handles that. If someone else has experience with this, can please put down in the comments. But yeah, I just have used it for small ideas here and there for my YouTube videos or my personal blog that I'm working on. And knowing how to code has really helped me understand what the errors are. I can imagine using something like this for something that I don't know how to do. Knowing how to code, I think, is crucial for me, and especially if you use it in a professional environment where you have to work with stuff like this, because I can spot where the issues are. I can ask it directly, okay, this is an error, this is what I'm gonna do, can you please do it? And it works way better like that if I know what the issue is. For example, it had trouble connecting my Prismic API keys and how to get my blog post from Prismic, and because I've worked with this and I know how to use it, I've just had the specific instructions to use Prismic, and it did that very well after. But the first time it struggled, where I just asked, get my blog post from Prismic. And I have been having fun using Cursor and other AI tools throughout my coding. It is fun to just ask someone to build something for you, especially if you're lazy like me, to build it yourself. And like I said, the experience of being a software engineer really helps here, because like even the building a website, if I want to add authentication or other stuff, then I know what to ask for it. Or I want a list of my YouTube videos, or my list of my blog posts, or I'm adding books that I've read for my blog, and I know exactly how to build that, and I can ask the chat specifically how to build it, and it helps to be more specific in what you're asking. And as I've learned, and you probably already know, that the more specific you are with the prompt, the more successful the result is going to be. So that's been my experience with Cursor. I'm going to continue using it, and if I have any updates in the future, I'm going to make another video. I have been trying other stuff like Bolt New and Windsurf. I'm probably going to be making a video on both of those soon, so stay tuned for that. And I mentioned SuperMaven before, and actually SuperMaven is a copilot, AI copilot tool for code completions and stuff. And this was my favorite one to use because it is very fast and very snappy. It was actually just tabbing when coding. I didn't really have the same experience with the other copilot tools. I tried a few, and then announced that they're joining Cursor. They're joining the two things together, and they're making a better Cursor in the future, which is great. I think this was already my favorite copilot to use. Whatever they built and all the technology they have behind it, I'm sure it's going to make Cursor even better. So I'm excited to see that in the future. I'm excited to see where Cursor goes and where all the AI coding editors tools go. I think the technology behind all this is pretty interesting too. There's a podcast of the Cursor founders, the people that created it, with Lex Friedman. There's some great stuff in there if you want to watch that. But yeah, that's been pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of the day. Happy coding. Bye.